Dear friends, welcome to the Mindful Maya podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to understanding the phenomenon of the mind and be free from its conditions. The series features various talk shows given by the mystic Maya around the world in what he calls the conversation from the silence to the silence.
Today, I'd like to share you about the way we perceive the world and we perceive each other and how it is affected by the functionality of the phenomenon of how the mind is working. So you can close your eyes and sit in a relaxed way. It makes you easier to get in as we go deeper inside. So let's take the experiences of the mind as energies. If we take any sorts of experience that we have as energies or states of energy, then what is happening is whenever we have a positive experience, this sorts of or any sorts of positive experience has a very, very light weight to it, or it's not heavy. It can be experiences or it can be anything we hear from somebody, somewhere, any information that enters our body. If it's a positive information, then it is light. It's a very light. It slips by, it just passes by. But on the contrary, whenever we have or whenever we get a negative information, this feels heavy and it has some weight to it, which is why it feels heavier. Negative experiences, negative information, all of this has some weight to it, not only in the sense of an emotional response from our body and our mind, but it also has some weight. It takes more space in our mind. Whatever negative experience we go through, there is more space that it takes within us, and whatever positive experiences or information we go through, it takes less space within us. Not only that, since the negative side of the spectrum has more space and it has more weight, it stays more with us. And some of the experiences stays with us for years and years and years. And the positive experiences, on the other hand, we live through it and we forget. And the negative experiences, we live through it and we carry it on. It may be that we don't carry it consciously, it just happens that unconsciously the mind is designed in such a way to carry the negative experiences, to reflect upon new experiences. For example, if we are to go to some place, some new place, or to go and meet some new people, these experiences that we have had within us is what comes to play and guides us to whether or not approach to these new circumstances, new places, to meet new people. So, meditating, what it does is it allows us to watch and understand how our individual mind is working. A very personal, very individual mind, how it is working. And only by recognizing, only by realizing our own individual minds, it is possible to get more into a peaceful side of life, a more free side of life. Normally, the mind is wired in such a way that the very first impression we have is doubtful or filled with negativity. But since this is the way the mind works, it has allowed us, for all the development that human mind has had in many thousands and thousands of years, it has always survived, it has always went along or went on developing, or it allowed for the life to continue generations after generations because of this very mechanism that it first doubts something, first thinks in a negative way. Then, with the experience, if it understands that certain something is not so negative, it is not so heavy, then it relaxes. Now, the very function of the mind is in a circular method, circular way, or what it means is the more any information revolves around in the mind, the more stable and the more strongly it stays with us. And since the mind likes to hold on to negative side of the information, which is heavier, takes more space, and it stays more. And the more it stays, the more we repeat in our mind about that particular experience. And the more we repeat about that particular experience, the more it stays. Just imagine having a long stick on a ground and we start drawing a circle and repeat drawing the same circle again and again. And what happens is the circle becomes deeper and deeper. And this is exactly how the mind works. Whatever information we repeatedly feed on to our mind, consciously or unconsciously, it becomes more and more deeper and it stays with us more and more. Not only that, whatever idea, information, memory is repeated again and again, we see the world likewise in the same way. For example, we hear some ideas from somebody, somewhere, maybe internet, maybe radio, television, newspaper, any sorts of media, or from friends. We hear some ideas, and if we like that idea and we repeat that idea within us, then that idea becomes a part of us, part of our mind. And with that idea, we start seeing the world. So, let's call these ideas stories. Since the moment we were born, we have been gathering many stories. Many stories we have forgotten, many stories we have still carried on. And we go through these stories every day in our life because these stories have become our experiences. And a collection of our stories is us today. So, there are two ways in which we can live a life. One is very normal, very natural, it happens in a natural way, is the gathering of stories and information. This gathering of stories and information, the more story we gather, the more information we gather, the more restless we become. And on the top of that, the natural way of the mind is to gather negative stories more than the positive ones. And the more negative story we gather, the more we look the world in the negative way. The more heavier our life becomes. The more heavier our surrounding appears to us. And another way of going through life is dropping the stories or letting go of stories. This second way, or this second step, is the way of meditation, where for this moment while we are here, we drop everything. Just very, very friendly way, remind the mind to drop whatever it is that is going on. Whatever that is going on in these days, in the mind, in the life, it's all right. But as we are here, seated, at least for this moment, let's drop them. And you can feel, with just this small practice of dropping it, we can feel gradually that indeed the negative memories have a weight to it, and they are very heavy. It is possible to experience this whenever we are feeling very negative or very low in life, or whenever we have anger in us or any sorts of heavy feeling. Simply just reminding ourselves, drop it. And the mind drops. And when it drops, we can feel the difference. A moment before, with the heavy feeling, there is certain something that holds on to the head, to the body, to the chest, to the belly. There is some energy that is holding on whenever we are feeling low or going through negative experiences. Yet, the moment we remind ourselves to let's drop that, this heaviness goes away. At least for a while it goes away. And if we are able to catch this very little tiny moment when it goes away and we feel that there is lightness again, once we find it, it's easier. It becomes easier to go to that relaxed state again and again. We may feel heavy again, and we remind ourselves again, let's drop it. And within practice, this goes on becoming more and more easier. Now, this is one of the goals of meditation, to find a relaxation, sometimes instantly, by reminding ourselves, to find this relaxation. The longer goal of meditation, or simply the question, why meditate, is to find this state of complete relaxation, of weightless mind or non-heavy mind, to stay with us in our daily life for a very long period. And the second way of letting go of the stories is what helps us, which is also a part of meditation, and this helps us to reach to that state of relaxation. Now, this does not mean that when we drop the story, we should drop the memory. The memory can stay. In fact, the memory will always stay with us. But the effect of the memory will not affect us anymore. We have learned from many sorts of experiences, be it positive or negative. We have learned, we have arrived to this day by the combination of all sorts of experiences we have had in our life. So by being thankful towards all the memories, all the moments, we simply be here. This is how we can rest the mind. Just like we rest our body every day, every night when we go to sleep, we can rest our mind by simply reminding ourselves, it's all right, let's drop it for a while. And this practice brings us a sense of bliss, a sense of personal accomplishment into the peak experience of life. While you are seated here for the meditation, one of the way you can practice or take a look at is going into the memories. It can be of today, since the morning, there have been different moments, different activities. Just go into one of those activities that you have had today. Watch it. Remember your activity. Live that activity again, like it is happening right now. And watch as that moment has gone already. Now it is part of a distant memory. And whenever we see the moment and see also that the moment has gone, this simple seeing of the memory that is gone brings us more into the here and now, into the present moment. And in the present moment, there can be no memories, no effects of any memories. In the present moment, we can just be. The mind is more and more relaxed. Just go to any memory, be it from today or be it from past. Relive the memory and know that that moment has gone, and be relaxed into this understanding of losing or going away of that moment. And just like that, this same practice can also be used with the sounds. Whenever there is any movement in the room or from outside, as the sound is gone, immediately try to re-listen to that sound inside. And you will find the trail of the sound or shadow of the sound inside. And this allows us to go even deeper into the relaxation. The sound of this movement, try to listen it inside. Whenever the sound comes in, it comes from the silence and vanishes into silence. It arises from nothingness and vanishes into nothingness. So as the sound comes in, let it come, let it stay. And when it goes away, when you find the silence, look back inside to the memory of that sound, and you will find yourself more relaxed and more in peace. Simply by looking into the echo of the sound or the shadow of the sound inside us, we are tuning our focus inside of us. First, the sound happens outside. Immediately the mind goes outside. Then, when the sound goes off, by listening the very sound that you heard from outside, by listening that sound inside, you are looking inside of your being, hence turning more and more relaxed into meditation. Another practice is to start with the body, because we are identified with our body since our childhood. It has become a very deep mantra. Whatever repeats in the mind is mantra. We have repeated this feeling of being the body. So we have to start with the body. We have seen our body with our eyes open. With the eyes closed, we can start seeing our body from inside and feel how it feels to watch from the inside. Just like hearing the echo of the sound inside, in the same way, we can watch our body from inside. Simply by focusing any part of the body, we can start feeling that part of the body from inside. For example, keep your focus on the knee of your left leg, simply the knee area of your left leg, and be there for a while watching your breath as well, as if the air is coming in and out through the knee of your left leg. And if the mind goes away with thoughts or with sounds, simply let it go and calmly bring it back into the point of focus. It is very, very subtle phenomenon that not only the lungs, the nose and the belly move while we breathe, but the entire body is in the process of movement. So when we focus our left knee as we breathe, we can start feeling this movement as well. It's very intricate, very subtle. Normally it goes unnoticed. But when we don't move our body, when we don't move our mind, these subtle movements can be felt. And this is watching from inside. Now shift your focus to the right knee on your right leg and repeat the breath the same way as before. To really focus, you can breathe in and out very slowly and really watch what happens to the point of focus. Now move your focus to your right hand thumb finger, and with slow and gradual breathing, just feel how it feels to be on this thumb finger of the right hand. Now you can focus anywhere in the body you like, wherever your focus you want to focus, and see this subtle movement of breathing. It appears as if the whole body is contracting and expanding along with the air that comes in and goes out. This is how we can bring our focus back to our body, and how we can start meditating from the body. And slowly, the more we find our body and its intricate, very subtle movements and phenomena, the more we simultaneously realize subtle movements of the mind as well. And the magic happens here. As we realize the movements of the mind, we gradually become separate from the movements of the mind. It is as if we know that we know As we realize that we know, whenever we are knowing that the mind is moving, we become separate from this movement. We become the witness. Generally, we become one with the movement of the mind. But when we carefully watch our mind, we become a witness of the movement of the mind. Now, before we start the meditation of the month, if you want to move your body for a while, stretch, you can do the stretch. Stretch the leg, hand, body.
Dear friends, we want to publish these life-changing conversations as a book, and for that we need your help. Please leave your thoughts on our Facebook page, Maya Satsang, and also share this podcast with your friends. Every thought is valuable and every share counts.